The most important key to your learning is reflection. It's important to be able to reflect on one's accomplishments, one's triumphs, and one's mistakes. Reflecting on this semester, I see a window of opportunity that has not been easy to open. Not because the window was locked, but because I approached the window with no intentions of unlocking it. This lack of intention caused a disengagement in my learning. I found myself playing the antagonist role to my own success, creating an eclipse blocking myself from educational nourishment that I need in order to be successful. But what exactly is success for me? Although my concentration is psychology, I have a hard time explaining why. When people ask me why I want to study child psychology, I try to explain and usually end up abusing my generic answer. Uh, because I want to study the human mind and help children, causing me to question myself about my true meaning of becoming a psychologist. In my journey to understanding why I wanted to be a psychologist, I stumbled upon the importance of cross-cultural competence. Culture is the framework that guides and bounds life practices, and understanding one's background is important in the field of psychology in order to be successful when working with children of different social status and backgrounds. In psychology, there is a plethora of things that you can focus on. My choice of focus is childhood resiliency. Take this plant, for example. No one would expect this plant to grow and fully bloom in the middle of concrete. But my job is to understand what made it grow. What about the roots made it special? But before I can understand what made the plant grow, I need to understand what made me grow. Who am I as a person, as a learner, or even as a friend? What has shaped me thus far to be who I am today? And why did it take me until my first semester in college to realize who I thought I was no longer correct? No longer correct because now I have to think for myself. So no longer do I know what my identity is. I walked through the college blindfolded to who I was or who I am, not understanding how I learned or how I have learned. A big influence on one's identity is their environment, their surroundings. All my life I've had a support system, but mostly of authoritative figures and teachers, principals, and my mom. But what does this mean? What identity did they give me? Through my eyes is how I see my world. If my world has been blindfolded to me, if my eyes have been covered and wrapped in chains, not physically chains, but mental chains, chains of my parents, chains of authoritative figures around me, then how do I see the world? Now that I'm in college, it's like the chains have been released. The blindfold has been removed. I have two paths in front of me. Neither are descriptive. How do I know which is which? I can't choose. Which one's failure? Which one's success? How do I know? How do I understand how to make positive change if where I'm from has nothing but negative change? For the past 30 years, my hometown has been declining, not inclining. Only gentrification has been inclining. So how do I change that? Where do I go from here? What's my progression? In the end result, we must all learn who we are. We may think we know who we are, but we really don't. Understanding our childhood is a key term to that. Part of the reason why I'm going into child psychology, to understand my own and understand others. This past summer, the road trip we went on helped with that. Throughout Roots and Routes, I pondered on the question as I visited others' hometowns, what really made them resilient? What really made them make it through their childhood? It had to be deeper than their favorite smoothie shop or their childhood blanket, even deeper than meeting their grandparents. Even though we eat differently, look differently, talk differently, come from different environments, been raised different styles, have different cultures, different backgrounds, different grandparents, we all have something in common. We all look to the sky with ambitions and high hopes. As I look in the sky now and watch the sun perch from behind that eclipse, I see it now. I see what I came here to get. I'm understanding how to learn. I'm understanding how to take in all this information and use it to my advantage. I'm understanding this now. Although I don't know my future, I know that I can determine it. As I see the light now, I'm willing to follow it. I'm willing to keep the light on. Keep my eyes open to all possibilities out there. But in order to do this, I must fix a few things. First things first, I must fix how I speak up for myself, how I articulate, or how I communicate with others. That's what's needed in order to be seen as an intellectual, or just as a respected student. If you can't speak for yourself, then who will? I am also ready to learn what it means to be an intellect, to be able to sit at a table and hold an intelligent conversation, rather than sit at a table and talk about me and my past, or where I come from, or the household that I was raised in. I am ready to let go of past relations, turn loose what has been keeping me down, and move forward. I am ready to release everything, not to forget it, but to leave it alone. At the beginning of this journey, I was standing in between the sun and myself. I was my shadow. Now that's the end, I'm willing to move out of the way and let the sun nourish me as it should and understand what it means to be a student.